aj v ďalšom roku. Môžeme ho už pokojne volať taký náš spolupracovník. Matthew Griffin, ktorý je z Inštitútu 311, ktorý založil a povie vám viac o umelej inteligencii. Číselko 311, veľmi zaujímavé, mne hovoria len prvé dve čísla, 31, tak toľko minút strávite s Matthew Griffinom tu na pódiu. Takže nech sa páči. Matthew Griffin.
Very much. Well, thank you. So that's been a lot of information this morning that we've been taking in. Now, from my side, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you the future of artificial intelligence that you've likely never seen before. I'm also going to be showing you a lot of things that artificial intelligence are doing today that you probably have no idea about, that change your futures and our futures collectively wholesale. So I've entitled this presentation AI Everywhere All at Once because it's my privilege to be here for the third time, and it's really great to see the expo actually growing up every time I come back. And when we have a look at AI, on the one hand, AI is already everywhere. Technically, it's as ubiquitous as electricity. It's on all of your phones, your devices, it's in the industrial control systems that are running the power plants, it's in the cars, basically, that are out front. But also, when we look at all at once, a little bit of a play on words, it really seems like we have hit this AI revolution. If you step back a year ago, people were talking about it. People have been talking about AI for like 60 years. But all of a sudden, you can't go anywhere, especially here, without hearing about it. Now, I have an agenda. So when I was asked to talk about artificial intelligence everywhere, the kind of challenge is just what do you talk about? Because there's so much of it everywhere, and it's all doing fascinating things. So I thought I'd do this. We're going to go through some future foundations. We're going to be talking about the brief future of artificial intelligence. We're going to be looking 30 to 40 years out. We're going to be looking at how AI is accelerating, automating, augmenting, and leveling up. So this is how I decided to split the presentation up. Because when we talk about artificial intelligence, this one apparently works better. I don't know. Maybe the battery. So when we talk about AI, we don't really talk about leveling up. When we have a look at the news tells you that AI is going to do one of two things, right? It's either going to automate you and kill you. So kind of Terminator style. Not necessarily in that order. So this is a completely different kind of presentation. Now, when we have a look at the future, frankly, I cover hundreds of trends. I cover 600 emerging technologies. Some of the ones basically that you think of as sci-fi, they're already here. Molecular assemblers, 6G, 7G, and everything else. And if you scan the QR code, you can download these codexes. And these codexes are about an inch thick, which is why I don't carry them with me to events, because they are giant. But they cover the next 200 years of technology, every trend you can imagine. Now, from a technology perspective, we talk in terms of AI. Now, I track about 600 technologies. There are 180 emerging technologies on this radar. AI, as we know it, is this one. So AI is just one single technology that we have available to us today to create new products and services. And we don't use any technology in isolation. We find a problem to solve, the innovator's dilemma. We then try to figure out how to solve that problem, which is a combination of different technologies. And this is where you combine these together. So we've got advanced manufacturing, 3D, 4D printing, molecular assemblers, nanotech, bioreactors. We've got biotech. If you want to live to 120, we have a whole variety of different biotech innovations coming through. Compute, when we talk about compute, I'll talk a little bit about that later. It's not what you think. It's not necessarily silicon. It's not necessarily quantum or neuromorphic computers. Bearing in mind that this really drives artificial intelligence, the speed of it, the cost of developing new models, connectivity. 5G, 6G, quantum internet, that's coming through, and so on and so forth. But you take all these different technologies and you combine them together, that's your next generation product, and then your next generation product, and so on and so forth. So, when we look at AI, I think there are some fundamental questions that we have to ask. And personally, I don't really think we're doing enough on these. So how do we develop AI that benefits people and the planet? If we're developing AI and technology in general, shouldn't it benefit people and the planet? And then this is vexing many governments around the world and many technology leaders around the world. How do we make sure that we lead the technology, AI, and that the AI doesn't lead us? Everyone thinks that AI, especially super intelligent AI, will run away and that we will not be able to lead it. It will lead human development. But we have some answers, kind of. Now, when we have a look at the future of AI, according to MIT, we don't actually live in the world of AI, of artificial intelligence. And the reason for that is because we have complex, automated, and probabilistic machines. There is not a single machine on the planet that is genuinely intelligent. They're all programmed in different ways. AI isn't bad, it isn't good. But as humans, we ascribe emotions to technology, and we say AI will be evil. AI won't be evil, AI will just do what it does. But also, we don't live in the world of conscious artificial intelligence, even though the US military have recently put digitized brains into robots to create conscious AI. We don't have emotional artificial intelligence. It's really great at mimicking human emotions, making it sound like it cares. We don't live in a world of sentient AI. But there is something missing. I'm going to talk about that later. Now, when we have a look at AI, basically, we're kind of here at the moment, artificial narrow intelligence. These are the statistics for ChatGPT, which you might have heard of. So ChatGPT has 1% of the connections of the human brain in neural network terms. It has a verbal IQ of 155, putting it in the top 1% of humans. It has 1,000 times more general knowledge than any human, and it learns 300 million times faster than any human. Which brings us to this. According to Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT and GPT-4 are a fundamentally superior learning algorithm. So from a human perspective, we're already up against this. We have some answers for you, though. AI is also mastering human language. Now, if you think about all the things that we've created with human language, religion, culture, society, your friendships and your behaviors and your opinions are formed thanks to human language. If AI can master human language, what is stopping it telling stories, building the next religions, influencing public opinion, regulation? And let's have a laugh about regulation. Exactly. Now, about a week ago, there was a new study came out of Berkeley. ChatGPT is in the top 1% of creatives. This was what was missing earlier. We say AI can't be creative. It's a load of rubbish. Creativity is a process. If I said to you, make this stage half as light, you could cut it in half. You could make it out of lighter materials. In your mind, you're going through essentially a workflow, a set of processes. Creativity, like it or not, is a process. And then we add human messy creativity on top, the randomness that makes us human. But if you go to ChatGPT and say, write me a science fiction novel in the style of William Shakespeare, talking about potatoes and etc. It'll do it, right? So from a writing perspective and a content perspective, AI is getting creative. Now, it's also evolving. DeepMind's artificial intelligence algorithms evolve and create better AI algorithms. It's replicating. Google's AI is able to create new artificial intelligences that do things like machine vision and so on and so forth. These are called children AI. It's self-improving. Again, Google, Baidu, Alibaba, Meta, Facebook, even Uber. And it's already problem solving. Uber have an artificial intelligence called Poet. It creates its own problems and then solves them. So the problem that I have is cure cancer, or the problem that I have is hack the Pentagon. These systems are already here. This is called artificial generalized intelligence in some circles, not general artificial intelligence. Now, when we have a look at post-generative artificial intelligence, we're moving to what some call interactive AI. So artificial capable intelligence. And this is the big change. So the moment you have GPT-4, which kind of says things, right? However, the next iteration of things like GPT-5, GPT-6, but also Google Bard, according to the researchers developing them, will do things. Now, what we mean by do things is the AI, you say, I would like to book a holiday, and the AI will go off, look at everything, and actually book it all for you. It will start talking to other artificial intelligence agents within supply chains to understand what needs to happen. It will then get those AI agents to do something. From a regulator's perspective, this is insanely dangerous because we do not have the regulations in place today for anything like this. So you can think of this as like auto-GPT, where people put lots of AI bots together, and the first bot did something, passed the workflow to a second bot, the second bot did something else, the third bot did something else. We've already had this, but they're talking about the giant models doing this as standard within the model. Now we have artificial general intelligence. Now, some of this is speculative, but based on what we see in the research labs, we think that they will have 10% of the connections of the human brain. They will have an IQ of 1,600. These are coming out of Google. An IQ of 1,600, I don't even know if that's possible, right? It will have 1 billion times more knowledge than the human brain, and learning speed will be unknown. And this is roughly 2030 to 2035. When you have a look at the CEO of DeepMind and Inflection AI, they're actually talking about this starting to emerge in 2028. This is insane. But these are the statistics that we're actually looking at as these large language models start becoming 1,000 times bigger. Then we have super AI, just to top it off. Roughly 2045 is the general guess. It's just all unknown. Now, put this into perspective, that's 20 years' time. That is, we're closer to 2045, almost, than to the start of the millennium. Unknown. Now, when we start talking about AI, we don't talk about the underlying compute platforms. But we've got neuromorphic computing platforms coming through, quantum computing platforms with quantum AI, biological computing platforms, photonic and polymer-based computing platforms. The computers that you use are not going to be the computers of the future. And when we have a look at quantum artificial intelligence, if a quantum computer can do a calculation that would take the US Department of Energy's supercomputer 2.5 billion years in 20 seconds, what happens when you fuse standard AI with quantum computers? Does that leapfrog us to artificial superintelligence in 5 years? And then as we have a look at the evolution of AI itself, we're moving from binary and neural networks to DNA. We've already created artificial intelligences in the UK that run on DNA, that do maths up at the University of Manchester and everything else. So this kind of leads us to this question, as we look a bit deeper into the future. What if your technology wasn't on? What if your technology was alive? This is the fusion of synthetic biology, genetic engineering, biological computing, and all kinds of different things. So what if your tech was alive? Would it be conscious then? Just asking. Now, as AI gets better, we move from this artificial intelligence, if we really believe that we're in this kind of era, to alien intelligence. DeepMind, their AI, ingests information. It takes that information, runs simulations, and generates its own knowledge. As it generates its own knowledge, are we actually approaching alien intelligence? Because these AIs behave in a fundamentally different way to how we think. And that's good, and it's bad for a variety of reasons. When we talk about controlling artificial intelligence, in the UK, in Japan, in the US, we have conversations about how do you control a powerful AI. Really, the only way to control a powerful AI is using something like quantum artificial intelligence that is able to analyze an AI, understand what the risks are, and then write the policies and regulations in real time and the containment algorithms to bring it to rein it in. So we've already seen bad artificial intelligences, polymorphic malware on the internet, which was autonomous, being hunted down by good AI malware. So do we actually need AI to manage and control and regulate and police AI? Because how are we humans going to do it? These things evolve millions of times a second. So, when we have a look at Accelerate, as I said, I'm going to show you use cases you haven't seen before. Let's accelerate entrepreneurship. So we already live in the era of real-time concepts and products. So for example, if you use Midjourney, as an entrepreneur, if you want to design a new car, you can go into Midjourney and say, design me a new hypercar concept, right? This took me 2 minutes to create. We can do concepts of lots of different things. And as AI evolves, we can get it, as entrepreneurs, to create all kinds of different concepts at speed. AI is already designing products. This is generative AI. You don't hear about this in the same circles as ChatGPT and everything else. In Germany, a company called Hyperganic used artificial intelligence to design a single-stage rocket engine that you can 3D print. Under Armour, this was designed by an artificial intelligence in about 2 hours. Normally, it would take about 18 months. We're accelerating everything. And then when we have a look at things like transcoder from Meta, we can transcribe old code to new code, we can write applications and so on and so forth. Now, about 2 weeks ago, again, an American university, Carnegie Mellon, decided to give artificial intelligence bots the task of building a company, which is also going to be the new Turing test, by the way. They had $1 and 7 minutes, and in 7 minutes, these bots coordinated themselves, figured out what problem needed solving, and wrote software. At the end of the 7 minutes, they'd built a software company. So if you think you're only going to be up against human entrepreneurs in the future, you're wrong. You can't make this one up. There was a chap called Mankind in the US. He had $69. He was selling digital art, and no one was going to his website any longer because of NFTs and things. And he thought, well, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to help me create a meme coin. So ChatGPT came up with a few names. He went out to Twitter. They selected the word Turbo Toad. ChatGPT helped him code the meme coin, built the marketing strategy and everything else. Midjourney designed the logo. 2 weeks later, that $69 in market cap was worth $250 million. Even today, Mr. Mankind's company is worth $50 million in market cap. We are living in a world basically where AI is increasingly getting its head around how to build, scale, and operate autonomous companies, with or without human involvement. Now, content creation. This is a whole section on itself. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to a book you can download on the future of synthetic content and stuff. But my son is, when he did this, was 11. How long does it take you to write a book? Couple of weeks? Couple of months? Caden used ChatGPT to write a book on running, and it did it in 20 minutes. We then used Midjourney to create all these images. No photographers, no humans from the gig economy. Then we spent 6 hours formatting it. By the end of the day, we had a book. We spent $600 creating hard copies, stuck it on the internet and everything else. We sold $25,000 worth for charity. So we wrote a book in 20 minutes, illustrated it in 6 hours, formatted it in 6 hours. This is the result. So when we talk about podcasts, synthetic text, articles, news, videos, VFX, music, every kind of content that you can imagine is increasingly going to be made by machines, with or without human input again. Healthcare. AI is simulating every protein on the planet. It's even creating new synthetic proteins, which are very useful in manufacturing, industrial processes, and healthcare. It designed at MIT new antibiotics in around 10 minutes. That starts solving the antibiotic crisis. We can create vaccines in 7 minutes now with artificial intelligence, protein simulation, and quantum computers. We've done it, by the way. This isn't fiction. In Silico, out of Australia, used artificial intelligence to design 30,000 new healthcare drugs in 21 days. If you wonder how you're going to live longer in the future, maybe it's because we actually have access to a powerful technology which is increasingly capable of creating and developing treatments. Increasingly, this is an upticking trend. We're seeing researchers in Europe, the UK, and also in the US who are using ChatGPT-like technologies to create a text prompt, and that text prompt then generates a novel drug treatment. So, for example, create a drug treatment that targets Parkinson's. The AI understands what you've asked, it's got data feeds from lots of different places, and it designs the drug. Now, this means you could design a drug. AI in the US about 6 months ago sequenced an entire human genome in 5 hours. That revolutionizes personal medicine and personal healthcare. That is a staggering breakthrough, and it did it for $100, not $2 billion that it used to take about 20, 25 years ago. Now, automating the workplace. Increasingly, when a company has a job advert, the AI will match you. It'll take your CV, it'll take your whatever you've pushed to the company, and it will match you. It will then hire you. 65% of the Fortune 100 companies use this process. And it will place you. And companies like HireVue during the interview process, will identify all your micro expressions, your tone, your intonation, the voice that you're using, the sounds and the words coming out of your mouth, and they will say, this is the person for us, or no, he's just plain lying. So AI is increasingly matching, hiring, and placing you in companies. It's also managing and monitoring you. So at Amazon, for example, they use AI to monitor how workers are picking up boxes. And if you aren't picking the box up right, the AI makes an intervention and says, do it a different way. At Uber, they're being managed. Gig economy workers are being managed by AI. And both Uber and Amazon got taken to the European Court of Justice because they had their AIs firing people. So you increasingly work for algorithmic organizations that use AI to monitor you, understand what you're doing, make interventions, and so on and so forth. I call this kind of post-digital. We also see the rise of the machines. If you think about the gig economy, do you like the artwork, by the way? I would normally use people from Fiverr to create artwork, if I could be bothered. This is all AI generated. Every image in here is AI generated. So we have the rise of the robo-gig economy because I don't need to go to Kevin to ask him to put together a picture of a robot. I can go to Midjourney, the artificial intelligence, put in a prompt and create this. So we're seeing the rise of the robo or machine or AI-based gig economy, an automated gig economy. 34% of people work in the gig economy. That's a lot of job displacement. And then we also have some fully autonomous companies coming up, especially in Wall Street and in Hong Kong. And these companies are typically communication and social media companies, and they're about 15. But don't think that in the future we need a human to build, scale, and develop companies. And then we already live in the algorithmic society. AI is already driving your lives. You're approved for a credit card, a bank loan, a mortgage. You're a crime risk because we've been analyzing all of the data on you, and people like you match people who are in prison, so we think you're a crime risk. That's from China, by the way. You're enrolled. Increasingly, universities are actually using AI to try to understand which students will leave and not give them a place, and other things. You're entertained, Netflix. You're informed, the news that you are fed. You're matched if you're on dating apps. It's not a human putting you together. It's an AI putting you together. You're routed, GPS. AI already guides and directs your life. And most isn't regulated. So beware. We are ceding control to the algorithms. And do you trust those algorithms? Because if you don't, you're in trouble. Simon Sinek, a little while ago, basically went on to LinkedIn and he said the most important people within a company are those that talk to customers. How many people have you talked to at Netflix? How many people have you talked to at Uber, Google, Airbnb, Expedia? If we think the most important people are the people who are at the interface between the company and the customer, more and more of what we do, what we buy, is just fed by an algorithm or digital service. Now, augmenting. However, we've got AI, which is now teaching humans empathy in the US. This is Mutual Life, an insurance company. The AI listens in on calls and says, the guy sounds angry, just pause a little bit. Empathy and everything else. Helping humans decide. They take all this data and I say, which stock should I buy? And the robo-wealth advisor says, buy Apple. Then I say, why? And it doesn't really know why. It can't explain it yet. That's explainable AI. But increasingly, AI is helping us decide. So what happens if the information's junk? You make a bad decision. It's democratizing skills. if I automate a job, then I democratize access to that job for other people. How many of you can code? I can't. My hand is not up. So using Google Bard, and ironically, this morning I had someone who actually writes payment integration saying, can we work with your company? In Python, write a Stripe payment integration for Laravel. Now, there's a long way before we can fully automate programming. It's a whole topic in itself. I'm not a programmer, but I've written a payment integration using Google Bard. I have no idea how to implement this because I'm not a coder. So how would I implement this program that we've just written? And it says here, install Stripe, create a Stripe account, get your Stripe API keys, configure Stripe in Laravel. Here's how you do it, right? I'm not a programmer, but because we are automating programming, that skill is now being democratized. But productivity and mental health, what we're finding is when you tag team AI with humans, the programmers are actually 62% more effective, more productive. But they're happier. Their mental health improves. Because traditionally, a programmer would say, I don't know how to write this code, and wouldn't know where to go. Now you ask Copilot or something like that, or something in Stack Overflow, and it says, have you tried this? So by augmenting humans with AI, we actually seem to improve our productivity and mental health. And as for productivity, how about disrupting KPMG, Ernst & Young, PwC? Now, I'm an idiot. I've just started at a competitor to KPMG. I don't know what questions I ask, so we want to write a report for PepsiCo on the future of growth, leadership, and strategy. So I get ChatGPT to write a list of questions for me that I can send to the board of Pepsi, who ironically I'm meeting on Tuesday. And now, by taking these questions and the answers to these questions, I can now get ChatGPT to, in the style of KPMG, write a personalized, tailored report for the board of Pepsi on the future of strategy, leadership, and growth for PepsiCo. And here we go. So what we're finding with these technologies, there was another recent study, increasingly, if you're in the consulting industry, you are 42% more productive. Because this is now my base KPMG report, you know, these giant reports that you get. And then I can simply get it to add in different bits. You know, as a human, this thing does 80% of the work. I read it and say, can you just tweak that, add that, take that out, whatever. So when we augment humans with technology, we get better. So I would say don't automate people, augment first. And you can see it kind of keeps going, but it's writing regulation and compliance, corporate and social responsibility, risk management. It's great. Anyone can do this. So you can be an apprentice with no idea of the auditing or consulting or tax industry, and you can start spitting out reports to get new business and new clients.
Thanks, Matthew, for the introduction. It's been our pleasure to put the following report together for you all. In it, we provide a succinct yet insightful analysis of Pepsi's business strategy, leadership, and growth potential. As one of the world's leading beverage companies, Pepsi's strategic planning, leadership acumen, and growth trajectory are central to its ongoing success and global dominance, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
So that's Edward. He's a digital human with a neural network brain. He's my employee. Now leveling up. So the last piece. This is kind of one of my favorites, because how do we take a powerful technology and help people who are disadvantaged level up? So learning and development. So firstly, whether you work for a company or whether you're an individual or whether you're at the local university, we can use AI to assess your skills, your hard and soft skills. Coursera do this with their competency matrices. So if you wanted to be a data scientist, I can assess where your gaps are. Okay? Bog standard stuff. However, using Khan Academy, the AI can now say, you've got these skills gaps. If you want this job, you've got these skills gaps, hard and soft skills gaps. And it can create custom training. I've done this with my own students. It works, and it works really well. And you can tweak the training according to your own style and so on and so forth. But there's a problem. In the 1960s, there was an educator called Bloom. He was a psychologist, and he said, he did an experiment. And basically, he concluded that if you have a class size of 1 to 30, everyone would get an average score. A class size of 1 to 15, everyone would get a slightly better score, like a B. And if you had a one-on-one tutor, then everyone would get A's. So we call it Bloom's 2 sigma problem. This works. Scan the QR code, and you can see exactly how you can accelerate your own learning using AI in any topic: cybersecurity, public speaking, which I need, negotiation. And this will show you all of the prompts. So we can use AI to learn 6 times faster, but during the holidays, I ran an experiment with my kids. So my daughter was bullied, really badly bullied, when she was kind of 7.5. And the school didn't really deal with it. And the result was we ended up having to move her down a class, down a year. The bullies have now been kicked out of the school 18 months later, and Pippa wanted to get back to her old class. But the problem that we had was in the UK, she was going to go from year 3 to year 5. She was going to miss all of year 4. So she was going to miss a whole school year. So me being me, I thought, how could we actually use artificial intelligence to accelerate her learning so that when she goes back to school, which she did about 2 weeks ago, she has all of the knowledge and skills that she needs to be in year 5. Then on top of that, I thought, well, could I get my 11-year-old son to teach my 9-year-old daughter, using artificial intelligence, the topics that she needs to know? And here they are. So part of the UK Year 4 curriculum is habitats and things. And this is a little 3-minute video, and then I'm off. But here we go. This is ChatGPT.
So,
This is the prompt.
Tell me about living things and habitats. Yeah, you spelled it correct. Yeah. For a 9-year-old. It's not an A, a 9-year-old.
So ChatGPT generates the response.
Go up.
Tell me about living things. It's a study buddy, it's a tutor, it's whatever you like. You can do this with your own kids. You can do it yourself.
Wait, we're just waiting for it to load. Okay, I need to. It's not letting me go up. Okay, there we go. This dude here is also a plant, so he's a living thing. And we're their twins. We got him from Disneyland World. Disney World yesterday. So you're going to start. Okay, so we put in, tell me about living things and their habitats for a 9-year-old. 9-year-old.
So we customized it.
11-year-old. And the teacher here. I'll give you detention. Okay, 20-year-old. Okay, better. Living things are everything around us that's alive, like plants, animals, and even tiny bugs. You can usually tell something is living if it grows like you grow taller. Plants and animals grow too. Okay. One, it grows like your... Grows like... I've already done that one.
What?
You want a second? alcohol. Okay. Reproduces. Reproduces. Okay. Animals have babies and plants. By the way, baby animals are so cute. And plants make seeds to grow new plants. Eats and breathes. Most animals eat food, and all living things need some way to take in energy. Even plants eat by using sunlight to make their food through a process called photosynthesis, which I learned about. Yes. Okay, I haven't learned about it yet, but I'll just say yes because you have. Okay, so what one are we on? Number 4. Yeah. Okay. Moves and retracts. Animals move around to find food or escape danger. Even some plants can move a little bit to face the sun. Where's bit in that sentence?
So what we have is this kind of looks chaotic, but it proves something. So it proves these technologies are now so easy to use that an 11-year-old with basic English skills is able to teach his 9-year-old sister about different things. Caden started learning about cryptocurrencies and NFTs and everything else using this technology. So if we give people the ability to self-learn, if you understand what it is you are trying to achieve, trying to learn, and trying to do, this has 1,000 times more general knowledge than every human brain. And they are free. So just what happens when we start putting this into an education system to help students or university students or people in corporations learn and accelerate that learning? And that's it from me. So that was a different view, I hope, of artificial intelligence. We went through a lot. But these are the good things that we are getting out of AI. Extending human lifespans, helping us build companies to earn money faster, helping us level up and learn. And if this is just the tip of the iceberg, then imagine what happens when we all start rallying around AI and ask, how do we use it to benefit people and the planet? So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that.